Good evening, everyone. What's up? Just ate a satisfying meal and topped it off with a meat dessert. This is Mr. Hata speaking. Previously, there was a channel review for Mr. Mega Gamer and 2 episodes of Soda Talk. There will be another episode of Soda Talk, but today is a rant on art class. So this is another school rant. Art class. In elementary school, everybody takes art class like once a week. Middle school, most people end up taking an art class because there are not as many classes offered. In high school, art classes are only for the people who have time for them. But there is a rant on art class for a good reason. Like, come on. All the kids have to take art class in elementary school, yet they don't even learn to draw. Like, they don't even the teachers aren't even teaching the kids how to draw at all. I wonder why people still draw stick figures even to this day. Like, they just say, oh, good job, here, A. Like, they don't even fail people if they can't draw, even though drawing is a gift, if people actually can draw. But not that many people have an eye for art. That's what makes drawing a skill. But almost nobody can actually draw that well. And that's why people have jobs as cartoonists, because that's a skill. But that's beside the point. Seriously, why on earth are teachers not failing people because they can't draw? And why on earth aren't they teaching people how to draw properly? I mean, they're a teacher. Teacher meaning teach. They don't teach people. They just tell people what they need to draw, and then people just draw it like it was drawn by a 2-year-old, and bam, they accept it. And they even hang them up. They even display them in the school. Like, come on. Is that even art? That's not even art at all. That's just a 2-year-old scribbling on a sheet of paper. That's just a 2-year-old coloring a sheet of paper. That's all that is. That isn't even a shadow of art. Calling that art. Who would be that dumb enough to call a 2-year-old drawing a work of art? That's never going to be a work of art. And yet, they're hung up by the art room. Seriously, people don't even know how to draw, and that they're teachers that are supposed to teach people how to draw, but they never end up teaching people how to draw. What's the point of them being hired if they can't teach people how to draw at all? Well, at least they do a better job in high school, but still. Like, seriously, they just give everybody in, like, middle school an A just for showing up and doing something. That doesn't work in real life. People just get an A for participating. That's gym class, that's music class, that's every other elective in existence. Wow. Are teachers being that lenient where they just want people, okay, if you come, just pass. You'll pass if you just come every day and just do one thing at a time. Sorry, the real world isn't supposed to work that way. Ugh. Yeah, in art class, all people do is literally draw. That's it. They barely paint at all. They don't really they don't really make impressive paintings at all. And why on earth do people in kindergarten get to draw? Like, people barely ever draw outside of kindergarten at all, and yet people call those, oh, look, it was a beautiful painting. That's just a bunch of colors that splat on it that were just dumped on a sheet of paper. That's all those quote-unquote works of art are. Ugh. At least the art teacher's actually an artist, thank goodness. But they're not doing their job because they're not being tough enough or harsh enough on the students. They need to push the students to actually learn to draw. They shouldn't be saying, oh, that's a nice drawing. Wow, they're just lying right there. They need to actually tell the truth that people suck at drawing, and bam, that's actually what their job is supposed to do. Ugh. Yeah, and what's worse is that, alright, depending on what school district one goes to, their teachers, like in 6th grade, does give credit just for doing something. Like, when people have to draw, like, a physical political map, they get credit just for doing it. And yet their map is way off the actual map in the book. Wow. And they actually say, and you give them an A just for doing it? Come on. Is that even what they're supposed to do? So just giving people an A just for a half-assed job, that's not even a half-assed job. That's literally a 2-year-old just dumping colors onto a sheet of paper. That's all it is. Yeah. And then when people are supposed to know how to draw, and people get credit for drawing stick figures, come on. Our teachers that desperate for kids to just leave their class, they're not going to teach them how to actually draw. Stick figures are for 1-year-olds. If people can't draw can only draw stick figures, then somebody teach them how to draw already. Yeah, in like middle school, people get like a credit just for actually drawing and not based off their art. People need to be graded based off how they draw too. They can't draw like they just can't like draw squares and circles. That doesn't work in the real world. If cartoonists were doing that, they'd be fired. So why not actually speak up and tell the kids, stop drawing stick figures, or your work of art is going to be ripped up. That's what the teachers should do. They should just rip the drawing right in front of everybody and make them cry. That would actually teach them a lesson, not to act like 5-year-olds all the time. Ugh. Wow. No wonder why America's school systems are so poor. Even art class can't do its job. Overall, art class in elementary school and middle school is utterly useless. At least the high school art classes actually do some of what they're supposed to do. At least they're grading people if they're doing enough stuff, but they need to grade them harder. They can't just like give credit just for doing something. It's not how it works. If it's a 0, it gets a 0. Yeah, and they're displaying people's works of art, drawings like they're Picasso. Yeah, they should teach people how to draw like Picasso then. People can't even draw. All they can draw is shapes. That's all people can actually draw. They can't draw 3D at all. They can't draw 3D animations at all. Wow. They're not even doing their job, and all the drawings are just so vague. Literally, it's just shapes. There's no detail put into them. There's no like wrinkles on her clothing or like pieces of hair. It's just a shape of a human body. That's all they draw. And they don't even draw the genitals or anything or the breasts at all. Wow. People seriously don't even know how to draw at all in this country. No wonder why drawing is a skill. Ugh. So yeah, overall, most drawings that kids draw get a big fat 0 in the actual grade book of a smart person. A person that actually knows how to grade would just give everybody a 0 and just force them to draw like 100 times before they actually draw it right, and they would just nod once it's done. That's a true story of what an actual teacher would do. They would not accept somebody's art until it's perfect, and then they would just nod. They would give a nod of courtesy when it's done. So overall, America needs to be more harsh on how they grade art. They shouldn't just grade art for participation. They should grade art based off how it looks and how it appeals to other people. They should have other people that grade the art for them. And actually adults, like the whole schools do it. With that, that's all there's to say for this rant. America, please stop just giving people credit for doing nothing on a sheet of paper. With that, that's all there's to say for this rant. See you on the next rant.